Hey guys, this is Robert with RC1 Hobbies, and I'm here with my Traxxas X Maxx, and I just did a big party, big demonstration event, and did some big jumps over 40 feet. Was landing on flat ground and really putting the truck through its paces really heavily, in some case saying it could be abused. I stripped out the pinion gear and the spur gear. So I want to do a video on replacing those gears. I went to my local Hobby Town USA and got new pinion and spur gear. The spur gear is the stock one, 52 teeth. I'm sorry, 54 teeth. And part numbers right there, 6449. X. And then I got a pinion gear that's a little bit taller. It's a 18 tooth, I believe. The stock one's 16 or 17. I'm actually going to take it out and see. So this part number is 6491X. So we're going to be jumping into the X Maxx and replacing the pinion gear and the spur gear. First of all, have to remove the body, and that's not hard at all to do. And I've already used my pneumatic air hose and blew everything out and cleaned it out. It's good to get it all clean so no debris goes in the gear mesh area. So that's what I've done. Now I'm going to move the camera into an angle that you can see down into the chassis. Okay, here we have a different angle of the X Maxx. This here is the spur and pinion gear cover. It gives you a warning sign, caution hot motor, because the motor's right here. So if you go in here touching it after you ran it, you're gonna get burned. So anyway, it's got a nice easy remove little flange here, but before you can remove it, you must remove the two screws that are 2.5 millimeter head size. So you need a wrench. There's one screw here, and there's another one back here. It's a little bit obstructed from this cross member, as you can see right there. So I'm going to remove both of those screws with my wrench, get them loose. Once those are removed, you just reach in and take out the cover to expose the pinion and spur gears right here. And there, the spur is wasted. And there's some damage on the pinion. It looks like you could use it, but it's got some pretty good damage to it. Let's zoom in there. So actually there are no teeth. There's two teeth right there, but the spur is stripped really bad. The pinion gear, if it doesn't have any broken teeth, but you can see the splines have dents in them from hitting the spur when the teeth are breaking. So you can see that for a emergency backup, I would use it, but I recommend replacing that. So I need to get the wrench to fit that, a set screw for the pinion gear. 2 millimeter. So the 2 millimeter metric wrench goes right in there, and that's it. You just back it off a little bit, and there it is. It's actually a 18 tooth. The one I have to go back in is an 18 tooth. So that's stock. This is a M1 from Mod 1 teeth pattern, 18 tooth pinion gear. So you can see there's debris in here from all the metal getting ripped apart. So I'm gonna take the spur out now, and we'll blow it all out and get all the metal chips of metal out of there so it don't get into the new stuff. So you see, if we zoom out, this is the X Maxx replacing the pinion gear. So now we gotta take out the spur gear. Okay, now we need to replace the spur gear. The spur gear is held in by 4 screws. Here you can see there's 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. I already have 2 loose, so I'm going for the last 2 now. Three, going for the 4th. Okay, we got it loose, so now we're going to lift it out and use my needle nose pliers to reach the cover because my hand won't fit in there very well. Set that aside. Now I can grab the spur gear and the shaft. There it is. So we want to remove the spur gear. These screw head sizes are 2 millimeter. So firmly grip the spur gear and remove the screws. 1, 2, 3. So let's see what happens. There it is. Spur gear off. So we're going to line up the spur gear correctly. Reinstall the screws. They don't have to be over tight, they just need to be snug. So there's 2 in, so we go for the last one. Alright, now it's in, so we can replace this gear. Make sure your bearings are in place. Looks like that one's out of place. Let's zoom in a little. You can see how if the bearing moves, that bearing needs to be in this little slot here. The bearing moves, so I got to pick it up and slide that bearing. And for the sake of the camera angle, I'll use my needle nose pliers to grab the gear, lift it up, slide the bearing over. Now it's in place. Now we can replace the cover. So I have my cover to put back on. Maneuver that back in position. Looks pretty good. So we go back to our 2.5 millimeter to put our screws back in. Again, this doesn't have to be super tight, just snug tight. Okay, I got them in there. Just going back through them with a quick snug test. It's all good. So now we want to install our brand new pinion gear and save the old one for an emergency. If we're out on the site playing and we strip out a pinion only and the spur's still good, we can just replace the pinion with the slightly damaged pinion. So it comes with the set screw outside with some Loctite on it already. It's the blue, just a drop of Loctite. So we're going to get our 2 millimeter wrench and get the screw started. And you look through here, as long as the screw doesn't come through this area here, you can slide it on without any interference. So I'm going to slide the gear on. Notice that the set screw goes on the flat area on the shaft. Right there is the flat area on the shaft. So we want the set screw to go back on that flat area. So there it is. And you want to make sure these teeth line up with the spur. We don't want it too far over this way. We don't want it too far over this way. You want to try to center it like so. Then we can tighten this with some pretty good force. Doesn't have to be over tightened, but we want to make sure that it's secure. The lock tight will keep the set screw from backing out with the vibration and the rotation. So it doesn't have to be over tight, because when you want to take it off and it's too tight, there's a problem. You want to be able to remove it. So now it's all set. We don't have to set the gear mesh because it's preset by the motor location. The motor didn't move. The spur gear doesn't move as far as moving away or toward both gear mesh. So everything should be exactly right. So now we're going to put the dust cover back on and we'll be done. Alright, dust cover is loosely laid. Now we're going to go back to our 2.5 millimeter. Tighten up that screw on the one side. Over here. Then go back over here. Oops, I dropped the screw. That's another thing you can do with your tools. If you rub them up against a magnet, you make them slightly magnetic, and you drop a screw like that, you can pick it up without having to get your fingers in there. So I have a magnet with my little pan that's magnetic, and I can just, you know, do this, and it magnetizes my wrench slightly, so I can pick up small screws like that. Alright, we are all done with that. The dust cover's back on. We can put the body back on, and that'll be it. Alright, now I can put the body back on the Maxx to conclude our video. So that concludes our video on how to replace the pinion and spur gear with the same stock spur and pinion gear video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You can like it and subscribe to RC1 Hobbies. Thanks for watching.